Good evening VC, or anyone who might find themselves watching this video. I thought I'd take a little break from my Krautrock collection video and do a quick vinyl update. Last Saturday, about a week ago, I went to a big record show or record fair in Oslo, the capital of Norway, in a place called Rockefeller Music Hall. And they arrange a record fair or record show once or twice each year. And usually the turnout is very good, and there are quite many vendors or sellers there. So each time I go there, I return with a pile of new stuff. So I thought I'd take the time to show you what I have purchased. Also, I have a couple of grails I'd like to show you. So let's just start. Something which came in the mail the other day, not from the record fair, is the red crayon with the familiar ugly. This is an American Psych band, and this record was released, I believe, sometime in 1967. And this is a very avant-garde piece of psychedelia. I'm not too familiar with the group, and I've listened to the record a couple of times, and it's great. This is a reissue on red wax, on low-cost records. Nice addition to the Psych collection there, the US Psych collection. But now on to the record fair. The first album I found, which I have wanted for some time, was Lee Michaels' debut album from 1968, I believe. Carnival of Life. And this is an original on the brown A&M label. Let me show you the label. Standard brown A&M label. I found this record for very cheap. I've seen them online, and they're not expensive at all. But this is an underrated and very well crafted album. My favorite tune from this album is the first one, Hello. Melodic, nice psych rock tunes. Next up, I found myself a copy of Ursa Major, and I wasn't familiar with this band until I think it was Deadwax66 who showed his copy of Ursa Major. And I've heard some of the tracks online and find it quite enjoyable. I don't think the whole album is great, but the heavier parts are excellent, and the more soft rock tracks are, well, more forgettable. This is a nice copy on Dynaflex. I would really like to get a UK copy, but this US Dynaflex version sounds good. So perhaps I'll settle for that. So, Ursa Major, original US pressing. Great stuff. At least from time to time. Next we have a nice addition to my Krautrock collection. And it's Out of Focus, with the first album called Wake Up. And this was originally released in 1970 or 71, I believe, on the Cuckoo label, which is a cuckoo bird. Show you the nice labels there. This is the Cuckoo label, a highly collectible German rock label, record label. But this is a repressing from, I'm not sure when the repressing is from, except the only difference you can tell from an original and this is the LC code printed on the label. I'm not sure if the camera picks it up, but just over my thumb. But this was in mint condition and very cheap. The originals are rare and expensive, so I was quite pleased to find this one for a nice price. I really recommend you check out Out of Focus, Wake Up. It's sort of a heavy version of Jethro Tull, if you like, from Germany. Quite nice. Then I managed to find a Japanese record from a band called Far Out. And this is superb. This is an album originally released in 1971. And I think they are related somewhat to the Flower Traveling Band. And this album is called Nihonjin. And of course it's a reissue, because the originals are super rare. And if they ever turn up for sale, they are super expensive. Comes with a nice insert depicting the band members and the band, and some info. A nice quality heavyweight vinyl. So it's listed on Discogs as an unofficial re-release. But anyhow, it sounds just great. It's on Phoenix Records. Even though it perhaps is an unofficial release, it's a quality pressing, mind you. And perhaps the only alternative, if I don't want to rob a bank. But anyway, this is very chilled out, relaxed prog psych. Each side is one track, and they use the time to build up the tracks. Soundscapes, easy, dreamy, kind of Pink Floydish, perhaps, early Pink Floyd. I really recommend you check out Far Out, Nihonjin, their album. Excellent, excellent Japanese prog psych. And there are many bands from Japan, but I have yet to discover and explore all of Japan's progressive and psych rock scene, but I know at least Far Out. Well, next up we have a repressing of Megaton. And Megaton was kind of an Exploito album, Exploito band, and it's the famous Les Humphries who teamed up a group and made some songs in the sort of heavy rock, psych rock vein. Les Humphries was well known for his vocal group, not like this at all, and none of the musicians are credited, but all the tracks are written by Les Humphries and someone called Bilberry. And this is an expensive one as well, on original Decca, but this is an Acme repressing. And to be quite honest, this album isn't too good. It's highly sought after by collectors, but the music quality is meh. Okay, I would say. Some of the songs are blueprints of other classics, such as I think Niagara sounds very much like Led Zeppelin's A Whole Lot of Love. So many of the songs are blueprints or rip-offs, if you like, of other famous tracks. It's a fun piece to have. And this is a reissue, cost me almost nothing. Another stone cold psych hard rock classic is Arcadium. And the only album, I believe, Breathe a While. This was a British hard rock psych band. And this is a very solid album from them, from 1969. What else is there to say? It's a repressing on Acme. Acme do nice repressings. I find the label design a little bit boring, but the pressings are high quality and the covers as well. And this had a single included from, I believe it's taken from the album. No. Right along for, oh, these are tracks which aren't included in the album, so it's a nice repressing worthwhile getting. If you haven't heard Arcadium and their album Breathe a While, I really recommend you check them out online. Next thing I found was, I've shown this before. I have the original on Polydor. It's The Dream and their only album Get Dreamy. The Norwegian Psych supergroup with Terje Rypdal on guitar. And now this January, a Norwegian record label called Round 2 have remastered and reissued this album. And it's still available. I recommend you go get this because the original is very expensive. And if you like this kind of heavy, psychedelic, with jazz elements rock, you love this. And it's a very fine album indeed. This is a nice package. The 200 first copies were on purple vinyl, and the labels as you can see, and comes with a nice printed inner sleeve with liner notes from a famous guitarist, famous anyway here in Scandinavia, called Reine Fiske, who also plays with Dungen. So a nice reissue if you want to check out Norway's best kept secret, Terje Rypdal and his Psych record from 1967. I found more. I found an Italian group called Fanna Fredda and their first and only album called Uno. This is a reissue on Vedette Records, the original label which this was released on in 1971. And this is a nice prog rock album, sung in Italian, and but it sounds quite international, with a lot of keyboards, guitar work, and etc. Typical prog album of its day. Fanna Fredda, Uno. Another nice reissue I found was Country Lane, a Swiss prog rock band, heavy prog rock band, Substratum, their only album from 1970, yes. This is also a nice heavy prog rocker with heavy guitars. Really recommendable. Country Lane, Substratum. This repressing is on Mellotron Records. Very nice pressing with gatefold sleeve and everything, but I haven't taken it out of the shrink yet. Well, getting near the end of the record fair. Next one I found was a new edition of Flot de Cologne's Rock Opera Profit Geyer. A nice album, live album from the political rock group from Germany. So this is a nice addition to my Krautrock records collection on Psych's music, which is a collaboration between Pilz and all those classic Krautrock labels. This Psych's music is a new label which specialize in releasing old Krautrock classics. Well, let me turn the record and we'll continue. Now, on to the Holy Grail section. Warhorse. I finally managed to track down a UK original on the Vertigo Swirl label. I have this from before on the German Vertigo Swirl label, but as you may know, every Vertigo Swirl collector really prefer the UK editions. So do I, even though the German versions are equally as good. Now, Warhorse was Nick Semper's band after he was released from the duties of Deep Purple, and this is his band after Deep Purple, and clearly you can hear the influences from the Deep Purple Mark I. You have tracks which are reminiscent of Ring That Neck and Kentucky Woman. So this album kind of is a blueprint of the Book of Taliesin, Deep Purple, and Shades of Deep Purple, but they do have their own sound, and they are more heavy than Deep Purple Mark I. So Warhorse is more in the direction of the later Deep Purple Mark II, and this is a very fine album indeed. So, nice heavy rock there. The next Holy Grail. Which to show first. And mind you, I got a great deal on this one. It's Elias Hulk and their only album called Unchained. And this is heavy blues rock with a little bit of Psych leanings. Elias Hulk Unchained, and this is an original on the Youngblood label, which was a short-lived record label. They lasted only for a couple of years, from the end of the 60s until 73, 74 I think. So there's only a handful of releases on the Youngblood label, but this is a magnificent piece of music. Now my copy isn't mint, but it's a VG copy, and the cover is VG Plus. VG Plus, yes. So I got a nice deal, and I couldn't pass on that one. I have a nice reissue on Summer Records, which I acquired in Stockholm last summer. But to have an original of this very obscure album is such a great thing. Now, the last record is perhaps the greatest find I have done in many years, and I've been seeking this record for so long, and it never shows up, it never turns up. The reissues don't turn up, and yes, we are going to stay in the UK, and the leading musician from this group is from Birmingham, and it's Locomotive. We Are Everything You See. Locomotive released a couple of singles in the late 60s, had a minor hit, but developed their sound from sort of ska music to dark, psychedelic, very British sounding rock music. And Norman Haynes, the mastermind behind Locomotive, is such a talent in songwriting and singing and playing the organ. This is so dark and gloomy. It reminds me of a grey, rainy, foggy winter's day. It's so beautiful and so melancholic, this album. A masterpiece. There's no guitar on this album. It's driven by well-played drums and bass, and of course the skillfully played Hammond organ by Norman Haynes and his magnificent vocals. And a warning, there are some horn sections here, but they really sound well. to this album and this music. This is an original on the Parlophone label. The only original issue, mind you. It was never re-released back in the day. It failed to chart and do anything commercially, but is now a holy grail for many collectors of the Psych era. Now I need Norman Haynes' next album, the Norman Haynes Band, Den of Incuity, I think it's called. Difficult name there. But it's his next band from 1971, and that album is equally as good as Locomotive's We Are Everything You See. But both this album and Den of Incuity, they failed to chart, failed to sell anything, and are quite scarce these days. So I'm so pleased to have this one. Now, that's everything for now. I think my next video will be episode 3 of my Krautrock records collection, so stay tuned for more. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.